Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
And tell me something. I know that
Yes.
when you was a kid, your family doesn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you lived in Hawaii, how was that moment, and how can you overcome and your family overcome that moment?
Well, that was a rough point in my life. It was a rough point in my parents' life. We were living paycheck to paycheck. And finally, in Hawaii, we were, as I've shared this story before in the past, we were evicted, so we couldn't pay the rent.
Wow, is it?
So we couldn't, nothing. We couldn't pay the rent. $180 a week was the rent.
Okay.
We had to pay by week.
Okay, no by month.
No, by month, a week. That was a little place we lived in, $180 a week. We couldn't pay that for about 5 weeks we went on, we couldn't pay it. And they finally kicked us out and then kicked us off the island, so we had to leave Hawaii. So
Do you remember that moment when you arrived to your
Yes.
house and see
Yes.
the paper in front of your door?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I remember it like it was yesterday. We came home and there was a paper, it was a very official paper.
An eviction order?
An eviction note that says you are officially evicted, you have to be out within 5 days. And now we had gotten to know the landlord very well. His name was Ken. I don't know if Ken is alive today, I don't know, but he was so nice. He kept, okay, no problem this week, next week. And then we couldn't pay next week. He said, no problem, next week. We couldn't pay the next week, no problem, next week. After 5 weeks, he said, I can't do anything. And we came home and there was the eviction notice that was on the door. So within 5 days you have to leave. And I'll never forget my mom, now it's time to take another drink.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I'll never forget that. My mom started crying. And I remember in that moment, because she felt like this is it. We've reached the worst. I don't know where to go. And my dad wasn't with us at the time. He was living on the mainland, in Tennessee. So she was crying, and I remember thinking in that moment, and I remember, Yordi, like it was yesterday, I remember thinking, I will do everything I can to make sure this never happens again.
Of course.
To my parents or to my mom. I never want to see this pain. So in a lot of ways, my work ethic today, even still today, I think about, well, I'm a couple of days away from being, I think about that moment of being evicted. Yeah, so that continues to drive me.
Wow. There's a lot of people in Mexico City, in the whole country, that doesn't have enough money to live every day, like you were telling me. So do you think money is very important to reach your goals in the life? Because you got a great career, and in that moment you doesn't have any money.
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I don't think it's money. Now that I've been very lucky, by the way, to make money, does it make things easier? Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course, brother, right? You're not worried about the bills or things like that. My little children, I don't want them to grow up like me. I want them to have much more than I did. But the truth is, money doesn't make you kind. Money doesn't make you grateful. Money doesn't make you happy.
No.
It's the love, it's family, and I realize that now especially once my dad died. My dad passed away 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And
he died suddenly, so I never got a chance to say goodbye. But after he died, I realized so much more about him than I did when he was alive,
Wow. Do you feel it close?
Yeah.
Your father?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel like, and I'm sure you tell me, for the loved ones that we lose, with my dad and my grandmother and my really close friends who passed away, that committed suicide, I feel like I'm closer to all of them.
Okay.
Because I feel like they're here all the time.
Yes.
And I could talk to them right away, and I feel their spirit right away. So I do. I feel like I'm closer to them. And me and my dad, we had a complicated relationship.
Okay, yes,
we were like this a lot. And but
now you are really in peace.
But now what happens is when he passed away, all that
go away.
Went away.
They're not so important. How is your relationship with your mother?
Amazing. Yes, she's going to watch this.
Okay, excellent.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's going to love this.
Kisses.
Yes, it's great. It's great.
Do you remember when was the last time you cried with your mother, and why?
Yes, I do. We were at my grandfather and grandmother's grave, where it was her mom and dad, and they're buried in Hawaii on a mountain called Diamond Head. And there's a cemetery there, and we went, and we were there, and like you feel it, right? You feel your ancestors. We feel our ancestors. So I remember she started crying, and then I started crying, and that was it. But my mom's very sentimental. She'll cry. She'll cry like that at anything, like just anything. You know?
And are you an emotional guy or not? Because I saw you very strong, very big. But are you an emotional guy or not?
Yeah, we should take another drink. Cheers to emotion.
Actually, I'm gonna serve more. That's
Okay.
very good, man.
Good, thank you, brother. Here, let me pour it for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. More.
Yeah.
Chales gratis.
There
Thank
you go,
you.
brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
That's mine. What do you mean,
Yes,
thank you?
I'm going. Excellent. Do you prefer añejo?
I prefer añejo today, but that's a reposado. But I do prefer añejo too. It's nice and smooth, but I can't find the añejo.
Okay.
But they're all good.
Yes,
so
excellent.
What were we? I was going to say something
about if you're an emotional guy.
Oh yes, I am. I am emotional, but in my emotion, it's weird. I'll cry in a weird way where I'll start to cry and then I'll tell you, I'm sorry, give me a second. And I'll just look. I'll say, it'll pass. Like that's it.
What made you cry?
What makes me cry usually is when I think about my little kids.
Your daughters.
Yeah. That kind of stuff makes me cry.
Cheers for them.
Cheers, brother. Cheers to children.
But
crying in a good way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm so emotional too, so it's really normal.